Hi students, Mr. Bergen here, and we're going to take a look at the hexagon tessellation, and we're going to see about how to perfect it. And some of you chose this program and succeeded, but a few of you chose it and committed a classic bug, I'm afraid. So let's take a look. So TPF from Maryland writes, took some time but got there in the end. Not quite. Right, so we have to do some fixing. If you take a look at what's been drawn here, that's not the hexagon tessellation, but about 4 of you, right, fell into the same trap. And the problem is this angle. Right here in the block down here, it is drawing a hexagon. It's repeating from 6 to 12. That's perfect. Move 20, turn 60 for the hexagon. But then here is the bug. Right down here, after you draw the hexagon, okay, I'm going to press clear to help several of you. And I'm going to go clear. And now I'm going to put the cat in the middle. And I am going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the cat real quickly to that arrow. It's so much easier to debug your work if you can see exactly where it's being pointed. Okay, and now here's the deal. After we click the hexagon, do you see how it's overlapping? And the reason it's overlapping there, right, is because the angle of 300 is the wrong angle. This angle of 300 has to be 120. Why? Because it has to turn its way through the hexagon, right? If I get rid of this and I just say clear and then draw from the middle a hexagon, there's one hexagon. It's facing down. The arrow makes it so clear that it's facing down now. And in facing down, we have to position it by turning not 300, right? But we have to make it turn so that it is facing the opposite direction, and that number is going to be 120. So if we say turn, right, in this direction, 120, and we now go like that, it's now ready to draw the next hexagon because it's facing this direction. It's facing northeast. Here comes the second hexagon. And now it wants to tessellate, but we can't have it going southwest because then it's going to be that overlapping thing and you don't get the hexagons. So if you turn 120, it's now ready to draw another hexagon. And so the magic number is the interior angle of the polygon. And the interior angle of a polygon that's a hexagon is 60 degrees. And that's what does it. So if I put this back together, right, and you did a great job, those of you who tried this, but the one you really needed was 60. Now it stops at the border. We see that. Now we're going to go after the other piece of this. And the other piece of this is how to get it to continue after it stops at the border. And the logic here is simple, but kind of an incredible insight. And the logic is separate this program, making another program. And the way you do that is with events. So if I go to events, I'm going to take out 2 companions when I receive and broadcast. And I will say broadcast, new message, hex test. And so at the end of the main program, it's going to broadcast hex tests, and then this sub-program says when I receive not message 1, when I receive hex test, it does this. Now that doesn't solve the problem, but now we're going to be able to solve the problem right over here. Why? Because if it's touching the edge, we don't want to stop everything. That's what we did in lesson 2, but let's throw that away. What we want to do is pick the pen up and then do some stuff and then put the pen down. Now what's the stuff? Very straightforward. Go to 0, 0 to begin the whole program again, and then start in the same angle that you specified in the main program. The main program here, the programmer TPF from Maryland said go to 0, 0. So we go to 0, 0, right? We point in direction 0. So we're emulating exactly what was done in the main program. Pen comes down, and now we say let's do the hex test. In other words, now we broadcast that same thing. So here's the logic, right? And you're welcome to try this even if you did the square tessellation for lesson 2, right? The logic here is very powerful, but it's easy. The logic here is if touching the edge, put the pen up, go back to the origin, point in the same direction, put the pen down, and now continue the tessellation. And it does it right on top, right? And here we go, right? It's going to do a great job when it gets to the edge. Watch it. It's not at the edge yet. We can have it play a little sound, right, when it gets to the edge just to alert us. Or we could have a counter. The counter is just easy to do with data, right? So you can keep your eye on that, but I'm going to make a variable, and I'm going to make a variable called counter, and I'm going to set the variable to 0, which is what programmers do always with programs, and then I'm going to increase the counter by 1 every time it has to go back to the middle. Now it's gone back to the middle already, but it's going to go there soon. Okay, and if you look in the upper left, you can see that is the variable. It's gone back to the middle once. And pretty soon it's going to hit an edge, and it's going to have to jump back to the counter. Back. Nope, now the counter is 2. But it jumps back to the middle, and it keeps going. Exactly that. You can, by the way, hold Shift down and click that, and you can get a large readout. And that could be a little visual if you like it. Or you can go a slider, and then it slides from the left to the right. Okay, you can fancy this up by changing the color for each tessellation. So the tessellation is the inner loop, right? Repeat a number there. So if we go, where's color? Under looks? No, color is under pen. And we can say set pen color to set pen color right here to a random number, and a random number from 1 to about 100 to 200 before it repeats again. And now every tessellation, every hexagon is a slightly different color, right? You see that? And that's real cool. And I'm going to give a Super Varsity Challenge, and the video that goes with it is learning how to fill the test hexagons. So it would be a solid hexagon purple, solid yellow, solid green, solid red, solid blue. You got it? All right? Hope you're understanding this. I find it mesmerizing to watch the sprite draw the tessellation, and it will finish. I guarantee you, my favorite number is 33, and in under 33 minutes, this will be done. And it's like watching a fire. It's very cool. When it gets to it's done at 12 times, counter is at 12. When it gets to 13, but it will eventually make it an entire perfect tessellation of the stage. Okay? This is Mr. Bergen signing off. And hope this has been helpful. There's the code right over there. If touching the edge, right? This is lesson 3 style. Pen up, go to the origin, point in 0, put the pen down. All that's doing is resetting the pen, and then it broadcasts drawing that should say drawing the hexagon, but I messed up. Okay? You got it? Bye, everybody. It's still drawing, but bye.